All right, good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad to be here with each and every one of you. My name is Antoine Thompson, Executive Director of the Greater Washington Region Clean Cities Coalition. Good to be with you all today. We are coming up on the 30th anniversary of the Clean Cities movement across the country next year. And one of the big things that we have been working on with some of our good partners from around the region and around the country is clean school buses, particularly electric school buses. And so our organization, we are a nonprofit corporation. We serve DC, parts of Northern Virginia, and also Maryland. And today we're going to have a nice, good conversation. So this is a participatory thing. We're not here to just lecture. We're here to listen and learn with you all. One of the two big things that we're involved with, one is the Mid-Atlantic Electrification Project, and the other is the Clean Cities program. And each of them are really focused on clean transportation, particularly one of them, the Mid-Atlantic Mid-Atlantic Electric School Bus Experience program. It's really looking at how we electrify these school buses around the country, and particularly in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and West Virginia as well. So I want to get started by just one, saying why we're here. We have a good cross section of folks throughout the region and the country. So we want to listen, we want to learn, we want to share information on implementing electric school bus programs. As I'm sure this group knows, there's a lot of funding there. We want to learn about your successes, some of the challenges and opportunities that you're facing as a school district, as a OEM, you know, or even as a charging company. What are some of the challenges that you are seeing if you're a utility as well? We'd like to share some resources with you. We'd like to share some opportunities to get a demo bus as well. I know that a number of the folks would like to get buses for the parents to see, the students to get on. We also want to talk about opportunities to work with our office and some of our partners to help track data, because the EPA and the Department of Energy in particular as well really want to see what's working and, you know, the theory versus the reality, right? What you all are seeing on the ground. So we'd like to be able to track some data. And also we have the opportunity to provide a free level 2 charger for you as well. I believe it's a wall charger. So we'll put in the chat for you to sign up for that. And our team will make sure we get you, I think we have about 3 of those right now that we can actually give to the to a school district that's going to use it. You got to use it though. That's the key. Okay. So we want to do that. I want to go into some introductions because this is really a part of this thing today. Is really to meet, network, share information, and so we can help school districts and all of our partners in the industry be successful, right? Because ultimately our destinies are intertwined. And so what I'd like to do at this point is I want to first thank our team from GWIR-CCC for helping to put this together. They worked so hard. And I know everyone's counting down to the last days before the holiday. We have one more session on Thursday, but I want to thank everyone to be able to do that. We did put in the link, if you like to request a charger, fill out the form and we'll get back to you as well. All right, and you can put your information in the chat and we'll see you there as well. All right, so I'd like to do at this point, I want to start by just acknowledging our partners in this mission, in this work from Virginia Clean Cities. I'd like to recognize Bruce and Sarah from Virginia. You want to say hi to everybody?
Morning, everyone. Good to see you.
Morning. Hey, everyone. Great to see you all here. Antoine's doing some great work on this project and excited to hear your thoughts about electric school buses.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. And I didn't know if anyone was here from VEIC, if anyone showed up. I don't see them on the chat. Okay, so what we're going to do is if I can just get folks just to state your name and organization that you're with. We'll start with Clay. Everyone, Clay, if you can just state your name and organization you're with.
Yeah, Clay Okabayashi. I'm with ZevX. We're a technology-based company out of Arizona.
All right, thank you. We'll go with Barry. Barry B. I'll just say your first name and your last initial. Barry?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm here. I was on mute.
Okay, what name and company are you with?
Barry Benish with K. Neal International.
Okay, you're a bus company, right?
Bus company, yes, sir.
Okay. Let's go with, is it KCAYCE?
Yes. Hey, good morning. Casey here with EV Noir.
Okay, thank you for being here. All right, Dan T. Dan?
He's not able to be muted or to speak, but he's with
Nope.
IG Burton and Company Incorporated.
Okay, and that is
We're a school bus dealer.
okay, thank you. What's your name?
My name's Gordon Dew. I'm with IG Burton and Company Incorporated as well.
Okay, thank you. You did double duty.
Yes, sir.
All right, Francine F.
Yeah, I'm not.
Francine?
Good morning, Francine Furby with Fairfax County Public Schools in Northern Virginia.
Thank you for being here. And I just saw you on CNBC the other day.
Excellent.
That was you, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Good, did a great job. Edwin L. Edwin. Okay. Edwin's with Citizen Energy. Okay. Let's go to Fred P.
Good morning, Fred Punturiero, Frederick County Public Schools, Transportation Director.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Looking forward to hear from you as well. Greg F.
Morning, everybody. Greg Farley. I'm with George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia. We're not directly involved in the school bus, sort of debate, but we're thinking about transit bus electrification and sort of transportation in general for our institution. So thanks for having me this morning.
Oh, thank you. You guys got a lot of shuttles, right?
Yeah, we sure do. All of them contracted out, so we have the opportunity to work with our vendor to electrify. So that's one of the reasons I'm listening in this morning.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. You put a smile on my face. Next is I don't know this name. Holsopple. Hopsel. Okay. I don't know who that is. Let's go to Josh. 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 Okay. And we'll just go to the last couple people. Juanita F.
Good morning, Juanita Farrow. I'm with Manchester Marketing Group Incorporated, MMGI, in the Metro Washington area.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. We'll go to Leah from Highland. Leah?
Yeah, I'm Leah Brahms with Highland Electric Fleets. And I'm sitting in today for Claire Alford, who would normally be here, but she had something else going on. So she would be here in the future.
All right, we'll go with Louisa.
Yes, Luisa Robles, City of Greenbelt. I'm the Sustainability Coordinator.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for being here. M. Mark D.
Mark Dresser, Supervisor of Garage Operations, Prince George's County Public Schools, Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
All right. All right. I'm just going to do these last two. Oh, we got three. Paul D.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul D. Andrade. I'm Assistant Director over at Fairfax County Public Schools in Northern Virginia.
Thank you. Thank you. Samuel S.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Samuel Sarafel. I'm with Monsa Collabs, an advisory based in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Nice. Scott K.
Hi, everyone. Scott Capter from EV Connect. We're a charging station and charging solutions provider.
Thank you. Ward C.
Ward Cash with Fairfax County Public Schools here in the Northern Virginia area.
All right. And Wendy B.
Good morning. I'm Wendy Billiter, and I work for Elaine Tolan as her staff aide with, she's the Drainsville School Board member and FCPS. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you. And Whitney K.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Whitney Kapenko, and I'm with Sunny Merriman, a commercial vehicle dealer in Virginia, primarily Thomas-built buses as well as other commercial vehicles.
All right. And the last person, Steve A.
Hi, everyone. Steve Alfaro with Citizen Energy doing EV adoption in low-income communities.
All right. Thank you. If I missed you, we'll get you during the participation process. So one of the first thing I want to say again is this thank you for being here. I want to start by talking. I think everyone here knows about the more than $5 billion for the electric school buses, and we'll talk about that in the end, how that's coming, how that process is working for you. But the first thing I like to do is I like to hear from a few of the school districts. One is the first thing is in terms of electric school buses, if you can list a couple of the two or three, or at least one barrier, one of the biggest barriers that you have found so far, either getting started or since you've been implementing your school bus program, what have been at least one or two of the biggest barriers that you encountered since you've been going down this road? So we could start with, say, Fairfax and then also Prince George's, if you can just share, just really quickly, what are one or two barriers you've seen so far?
Good morning. This is Francine Furby with Fairfax. And I'd have to say our largest barrier at this point is just securing funding to grow our fleet. We have a large fleet of 1,625 school buses.
Wow, that's a big number.
Yes, we have 8 electric school buses in operation and are expecting 20 additional early next year that we received funding through the DEQ for the 20 that we expect. And so just, a plan for transitioning the fleet our size requires funding for the buses themselves and as well as the infrastructure. And so currently we do have, a great partnership with Dominion Energy, and we hope that continues, but want to look at some other opportunities out there that would allow us, to transition our fleet in a timely manner. We are
Fantastic.
with a goal through our JET organization, Joint Environmental Task Force here in Fairfax, that has set a goal for us to transition our fleet by 2035.
Woo! At that pace, you're going, woo.
Right.
Okay, I got a question for you, but let me go to Prince George's County, Maryland, to see from Mark. I know he's down that road, had a couple little bumps, but Mark, why don't you share how your experience is going and with some of the challenges you've seen so far?
Mark Dresser, Prince George's County Schools. We have about 1,250 school buses here in the fleet. We've introduced one electric bus. We haven't actually formally rolled that bus out. We've had a few bumps in the road that we've worked diligently to resolve, and we'll be rolling that first bus out. Biggest challenges, I would say, is probably continued funding. We have applied for some of the grants, and we will continue to apply for grants moving forward. We're planning on purchasing 20 electric school buses this year.
Oh, wow.
Utilizing some ESSER funding. And
Can you share what ESSER is for those who may or may not know?
To be quite honest with you, I don't know. I'm just going to be honest on that. I'm not exactly sure. I know it's a federal grant that was moved forward, but I was made aware of the funds that were put forward for electric school bus. So I have a budget to work with, and we're moving forward as far as electric school bus.
And does your school district have a goal for when they want all the school buses to be electric, or do they want them electric or zero emission as well?
I've been told we're looking to roll the fleet over by 2040. So 1,250 school buses by 2040. We typically replace approximately 104 to 105 annually. As far as our diesel fleet goes, and that's based on a 12-year life and a fleet size of 1,250.
Wow, that's a good sized fleet as well. A lot of market opportunity here.
Yes.
Market opportunity.
Yes. We're hoping for continued funding, and we're, I think the next challenge, or certainly the greatest challenge, is going to be infrastructure for Prince George's County. That's a sizable goal, to change the entire fleet from diesel to electric by 2040. So infrastructure is going to be huge.
No, understandable. Are there any other school districts or school district officials that would like to weigh in on the biggest barriers that you have seen so far with implementing electric school buses? Any school districts that like to jump in? Any other school districts?
Frederick County Public Schools reiterates the same. Funding is a big concern. I mean, an electric school bus is around almost $400,000, and so to get not enough funding to cover that. I mean, compared to what we're paying for a diesel bus, as Mark shared earlier, the cost and the infrastructure. We put in a charging station with 2 terminals to charge our 2 electric buses, and just the infrastructure alone and running the 480 volts and working with our electric company was almost $180,000. And then purchasing the buses, which were almost $400 a piece. And we did get money from the VW settlement to offset but through the grants, but we were paying for $100,000 at the time for a bus back then. So that's So that's a substantial amount is funding.
Can I ask you a question? When you normally have gotten your buses in the past, were you able to use federal money in any state or you just use your O&M money, you know, your regular city
Yep.
district money?
Yeah, our regular district money.
And prior to that, how many buses were you typically turning over a year? Do you guys own your buses or do you use a private vendor for your buses?
We own all our buses. We have 445 buses in our fleets, and we purchase anywhere between 30 and 40 buses a year, depending on funding.
Okay, so that's a decent number. Okay, wow. Okay, that's good information. That's good information. I would like any other school districts that like to chime in on some of the challenges. So funding seems to be a big issue, right? Especially at the cost, because they're typically 3 times as much. Any other school district like to chime in? Let me ask the districts this that are on the call. Have any of you considered retrofitting your school buses for electric? Have any of you considered that at all? Looked at that as an option? But you can actually, that's a lot cheaper. It's not the same if you look at the life cycle of your buses. Have any of you considered repowering or retrofitting your school buses for electric at all? Any of you?
I would like to mention that I don't believe our dealer offers the retrofit. Whitney may be able to speak to that a little bit better, but I think initially that wasn't an option. And if it is, maybe we could learn more about it.
Okay, so good. So what we'll do with this, is sometime there are firms such as E-Lightning Motors and a number of folks that do, I think ZevX is on, but I don't know if they're doing buses yet. Are you guys doing buses?
Can I add? Well, the only buses we're really doing is focus on, because we're focused on class 2 through 4, basically. So we can do an E450. So we do retrofits on E450s. We do new on a ship through basis, but we also do, which is very popular right now, we do older chassis because of the chassis availability has been an issue. So a lot of fleets come to us and saying, hey, can you do a 5-year-old, 8-year-old chassis, basically, right?
Yes. Who was that speaking? I couldn't catch you that well.
I'm sorry, this is Clay Okabayashi with ZevX. So we're an EV technology company based out of Arizona, and we offer EV conversions or repowers on E450 chassis. We can do basically a type A type school bus.
Good, thank you. So 2 things. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
So what we will do sometime in January or early February, we will bring some folks on that are doing this right now, retrofitting for repowering or retrofitting for electric. Farley asked, Greg Farley also asked about firms that retrofit or repower for gas and diesel. There are companies that do that as well. So we'll have a session that talks about repowering school buses for electrification and a separate one for for gas and diesel. So they do exist, and we'll make sure we get them out there for you. Because I know that many of you are that's a big number at the pace that you're going. It'll be 2080 before you get all those buses repowered or get them zero emissions, and we want to help you with that. Next thing I'd like to do is to ask a question of things that you have learned the most from down this road. What's the number one thing you've learned beyond funding if we can hear that from some of the school districts as well. And then we're going to go to some of the OEMs to get some questions that you all have experienced as well. So school districts, what's the what's the biggest thing you've learned so far? I know planning's got to be one of those, right?
Yeah, I'll jump in. This is Paul DeAndrade at Fairfax County Public Schools. And just to jump in on that planning portion, it's just to making sure that we optimize our routes. We do have a certain amount of battery life and a certain amount of distance we could go, and including our regular tier bells, and then including anything additional, field trips or shuttles in the middle of the day. So we have to really be careful and cognizant of where we put those buses and in proximity to our existing charging infrastructure, because we only have it in one place. So it is something that we have to look at, and just the regular learning bumps that we have, how the buses operate in the winter when you have the heat on and versus the summer. So those are little things that we learned since we have implemented.
Can you just elaborate on that? I mean, because we've heard different things with the use of the AC in the summer versus the heat in the winter. What has been you all's experience on impact on range and all that?
So we find in the winter time, and especially if you're running the heater 100% of the time, it does have a nominal impact on the range of the buses. So let's say if you normally come back and maybe 30%, you may lose about 5 to 10% depending on the route itself. So what we tend to do is we'll not have the heat on while we're doing the pre-trip, and then turn it on a little bit afterwards, so we can kind of conserve some of the heat, but still have the bus warm by the time we start our routes in the morning. It's nothing to the point it's a non-starter, but it's just little things that we take a look at just to make sure that we have enough comfortable space, when we finish our routes and by the time we get back for our midday charging.
Oh, good information. Any other school districts like to chime in on that? Is Frederick, you all want to chime in on that at all? Or how have you all, anything you want to add to that point?
Yeah, just as Paul said, all has to do with planning, getting the buses back to charge in the middle of the day, putting them on routes. The other thing everybody has to take into consider is how their operation is structured. Where are your buses? Here in Frederick, we have one facility, and 100 of our buses park at this facility, and the rest of our buses are scattered throughout the county. We park at schools, we park at drivers' homes, we park at businesses. And so when you're thinking about electrifying your fleets, you really have to put that long-term perspective in place of how you're going to do that. And the other thing you have to take a look at too is for us moving forward in planning is what would we like to see for a school bus range wise. Our facility is primarily special ed. Our special ed buses, our type 2s, our wheelchair buses, and those are the ones that go all day long, an AM, a midday, some 2 middays, a PM run. And so for them they won't have the time to come back in the middle of the day and charge to go back out.
Good point.
So there's a lot of planning to think about.
Great. Well, we have charging companies on here, and we have OEMs on here as well. I'd like to ask the school districts if there was one wish that you would love to have happen. We have a number of federal folks on here as well. If there was one wish that you could have get from the OEMs and from the charging companies, what would those be from the school districts? Then I'm going to go over to the dealers and then the charging companies. There was one wish. I know getting more buses is one, but what would that one wish be? Let's go to let's start at Frederick. If you had one wish for the charging companies or for the OEMs, what would that one wish be? A magic crystal ball or magic wand?
Yeah, of course, as we just were talking about, is range. Definitely, increase range, we're currently averaging 1% per mile. So on a 100% charge, we can go 100 miles a day before we have to charge, but that range is nowhere enough for our special education routes that travel 200 miles a day. So range is definitely the key, and of course pricing is always good. If I could have a second wish is pricing,
Get those prices down, right? It's
Yeah.
it's we got to deal with that. It's a great point. And prices, that's a sticker shocker. Yes. Okay. All right. Anyone else want to chime in before we go to the OEMs?
I'd like to add also, through some of the experience that we have had here in Fairfax, we would like the opportunity, the availability to have communication to us when our charging units are down.
Okay.
So that we can, prepare accordingly. I think that, like I said, through some of our experiences, we've come to the lot and have seen where our units have been down. And so we'd have to scramble. While we just have 8 electric vehicles in operation now, we do have a huge backup with our diesel. But as we convert our fleet more, we would, definitely want to have some communication so that we can have early planning and have backup plan and be prepared if we do experience outages with our charging stations.
Great point. Excellent point. Well, I want to make sure that we do everything we can to help you clean up that diesel that you have. So, if you can't get electric, we at least can make sure you get some biodiesel. So we're going to do everything we can to help you all with that. And we have been, I have recommended our office is part of the, and so is, in fact, Virginia Clean Cities, Alan Harnett is not on the call, but he's the chair of the board that I sit on called the Transportation Energy Partners. And one of the things that I have asked is that we do more to get more funding for retrofitting vehicles for both alternative fuels, but especially for electrification and biodiesel and other renewable fuels. So we can, the cost, the time is taken to buy these vehicles, I want to see it in my lifetime. So we've got to be more aggressive with repowering and retrofitting. I'd like to go next over to, thank you for those great comments. I'd like to go to some of the dealers. I know we have at least 3 or 4 dealers. I want to give, and then I want to go, I'll come back to Prince George's as well. I'd like to go to a couple of the dealers. I did see IC Burton on, and I think Highland is on as well. We got a few bus dealers on. And Barry, good guy, Barry's on. Let me go to Barry first. Barry, you guys are a big dealer, big minority firm as well. And what are some of the biggest challenges you're seeing trying to work with school districts around electrification of their fleet right now? What's the biggest thing you're seeing from a dealer perspective? Barry? Did we lose Barry? I think we lost Barry. Okay. I see Chance Parker has come on as well. I'm calling you in a few minutes, but Claire, Claire, or anyone from any of the bus dealers, anyone from IC Burton want to jump in on there? One of the biggest challenges you've seen working with school districts? Don't all jump at once. Did I lose all the school bus companies?
I'll interject. This is Whitney from Sunny Merriman. Like I said, we represent Thomas Built Buses in Virginia. And I mean, we've all said it, funding top priority challenge for everyone. But outside of that, I would say two that come to mind are one, applying for funding. So there is lots of federal funding available, but having the resources to find funding and then to be able to submit applications for it. We've noticed that's especially a challenge for smaller school districts. Which that is something that we kind of stepped in as a dealer and started to offer some support there, whether supporting them to get the application submitted on their behalf or just assisting them with going through the process. Two, another one that comes to mind, I think somebody might have touched on a little bit earlier, again, more of a problem that small school districts, especially those out in rural locations, face is charging and range, because the way traditionally it's been, there is one central bus depot, and one that comes to mind is Pennsylvania County, that is not in the Northern Virginia area, but of course, they have a huge landmass for their county. And so if all of their electric buses are at one single bus depot, to drive that bus to the part of the county it's actually going to serve is going to eat up a big part of their range. So just a change in operations from perhaps putting all the chargers at the bus depot to rather looking at scattering them around the county.
Have you all thought about like, I think, some of the school, I don't know if you can do it at a school, or some other public asset in the area, 'cause as the municipalities and counties fall into a similar situation, they're gonna need sites as well. So have you all thought about that?
Yeah, and that's actually something that we, a couple of our school districts have done, again, not in the Northern Virginia area, but Middlesex County, that's something that they chose to do, was to locate their chargers at a school so that it would be closer to where the routes actually were. So that is something that we see more and more school districts to combat that challenge looking at doing, is actually having the chargers at schools.
Nice. Thank you. Okay, awesome. Any other dealers or bus companies want to chime in on that? Any other things you've learned? Okay, all right. Hearing none, I want to go to the charging companies. We got a lot of charging, at least a few charging companies on here. So the charging companies, what are some of the challenges and opportunities that you have seen working with both the school districts and the utilities as you try to help them electrify? I often get on these, I have these calls with different school districts, and I've been mortified with some of them that have thought it was a 3-step process. They buy a bus, get a charger, and briefly train their workers, and it's a lot more involved in that process. And so I'd like to hear from some of the charging companies. What are some of the opportunities and challenges have you experienced working with school districts? Any charging companies on that like to chime in? Thought I saw EV Connect on. Are you working with any school districts right now?
Yes, so this is Paul Terry. Let's see if I can also. And yeah, I guess it goes back to some of the comments that folks were talking about, which is, planning, meaning what is it you're looking to get out of it? And the planning goes to things like potentially reporting capabilities, how much you're looking to have the stations all networked, so you can be pulling those reports, you can be scheduling your charging at the most cost-effective time, making sure the stations that you're buying work well with the vehicles that you're buying. That may sound like a bit of a peculiar statement, but sometimes they don't always reconcile. And then understanding what the operation and maintenance needs are for the station for the out years. So there's actually, there's a number of very sort of fundamental, not terribly exciting, but can be important if you're not, you try, what we're trying to do is minimize surprises on the back end. So by understanding, what the needs are, what the vehicles that are going to be used, where are they going to go, what your budget is for energy, how you're going to manage that energy, how you're then going to document how it's being spent, and the reporting capabilities. Those are some of the sort of headlines that we see folks encountering post install of the station and post acquisition of the vehicle.
Paul, if there was something you would recommend, how many school districts are you working with charging around the country? Do you have any idea how many school districts?
Yeah, no, great question. I should know that idea, but I don't. As an aside, I'm here in Fairfax, so I love the fact that we got so many folks in Fairfax. Happy to be a resource. We do have some very strong, like Sunnyvale School District out in California is one of our premier clients. And a lot of the learnings that I'm sharing with you are coming from them. And we have a case study on our website, which has that. And I'm sure they'd be happy to talk to some of you. Big believer in what you're doing right here and this group, just sharing lessons learned. Really want to continue to be part of that. But go back to your question. So I don't know the exact number. It's a healthy number. If I had to guess, I'd say it's somewhere between 10 and 30. Some are just onesie twosies. Others are larger, the 10, 20, 30, 40 buses. We also work with transit folks. So we have a smatter, we have experience sort of across the board.
So if there was one thing that you would like to share with the districts as they plan for electric school buses and from a charging perspective, what are those two nuggets you would share with these folks as whether they got one bus or they got 20 buses, from the charging perspective, what are one or two nuggets you'd like to share with them?
Yeah, it's tough to distill down to one or two, but it's a fair question. It's just understand not just your needs, but your larger organization's needs, and map that to what you're buying, and really stress test in advance of the acquisition as to whether it's going to produce. And I think mainly that goes to charging capabilities. I think was a Francine, great observation in terms of, hey, it would really be nice to know if the chargers are down. Sounds kind of intuitive, but you may want to double check, make sure you can get that information. So is it going to work? And if it's not working, what kind of help am I going to get?
Good point. Good point.
If I had to really distill it down to one or two, that would be the one or two. Is it going to work? And that working goes between coordinating with regard to the software, the hardware, and the vehicle. And if it's not working, what kind of help am I going to get?
Good.
I think there was, if I can jump in, there's one other, this is Scott Captor also from EV Connect. In talking to some school districts and some municipalities who are pursuing projects like this, some feedback I've gotten from very credulous individuals was they kind of were saying, well, our municipality's approach is typically to get the vehicle and then figure out how to make it work, how to support it. We do always strongly advocate that, you have the infrastructure in place, and not only the infrastructure in place for the vehicles you're planning to add through a pilot or what have you, if it's a small rollout or a phased rollout. Some great advice I got was that build more than you need. Conduit is cheap, and touch concrete once. Be prepared, to meet your immediate need, but have the ability to give yourself room to upgrade later. And obviously take into account the time it's going to take to work with your utility to upgrade your infrastructure, the time it's going to take to receive your charging stations, the EVSE themselves, especially we're talking about, I've heard it mentioned several times here, these are large buses, they have large batteries, and they can take a very long duration to charge if you're not going with a high powered station. So you want to make sure that you got high-powered stations, and oftentimes those can have a lead time that can exceed 45 to 52 weeks. And oftentimes we find that that's not even the long pole in the tent. It's waiting for a transformer to come from your utility. So have respect for the process and definitely start thinking about it earlier rather than later. It's never too early to start thinking about your electrification process and how big it's going to be.
Great point. I want to go to Mark from Prince George's County. I know you haven't launched your bus yet, but I had two quick questions for you. One, how are your drivers responding to this move towards electrification? And your technicians?
Well, we only have the one bus and it hasn't actually been rolled out yet. So we delayed rolling the bus out until it was fully ready. And that included the charging station that we put in.
Which brand charger do you have for yours?
It's a Nuvi charger. It's a level 2 Nuvi charger.
Okay.
For the one bus that we have, we certainly love to go DC fast charge, but I'm really more focused now, more than anything, is on that infrastructure. And I know there's been a lot of discussion about the benefits of vehicle to grid and things like that, but I'd really like to see how the school system itself could benefit from electrification beyond simply the transportation of students, but storing that power so that power could be utilized for our school buildings, for our facilities. So more of a microgrid type of plan where we would incorporate battery storage, because at some point we're going to have batteries from these buses as they age. So the storage capability of power, generators for backup, solar, I think all those things need to be considered. And of course, our new schools, incorporating everything into a green plan so that the energy stored in these buses could be used for the new schools. So all those things, for me, it's beyond just simply charging the bus. It's a long-term plan is what I'm looking for.
I love it. I love it. Well, what we'll do is we'll share that with our team. There are a number of folks regionally and nationally that are looking at that, and perhaps we can put something on related to this program on vehicle to grid. So our Sarah and Bruce, I think they gave us some great ideas that I'm sure would be really good. Any other school districts like to share how how your drivers and technicians and mechanics are adjusting to this, especially those in Frederick County and Fairfax County?
Here in Frederick, looks like we only have 2 buses, so we are utilizing them this school year. 2 of our drivers drive them. You know, when they're on the road and operational, they're working fine. From a mechanic perspective, we have some trained technicians, but they don't primarily do any of the high voltage stuff. You know, all that's under warranty and sent out. So with 2 buses, and you know, like I said, we just got them on the road in August. It's going to take some time to see how, from a mechanical perspective, the shop is with them. And you know, general repairs are okay, right? Everybody changes tires and brakes and things like that. But concerning the voltage stuff, it's all under warranty, so it goes back to the dealer at this time.
And how long is your warranty? 2 years? Or?
Oh no, we got many years we purchased in the warranty. Since it was grant funded, we asked for everything.
Mark is shaking his head.
Yeah,
it's new technology. I mean, you have to have an insurance policy. We're you know, we're experimenting with testing, really, and that's not really a business that school systems are jumping into, I think, readily. We need all the insurance we can get. We're in the business of transporting students safely, and that's what we want to make sure we continue to do. So the new technology is uncharted waters, whether it's the infrastructure, whether it's the bus itself. We want to make sure that we're ready to pick up students, and that's why everybody is, I think, warranting up here. We're moving into some uncharted water.
All right, I want to go to Fairfax. You want to chime in that? Anyone from there on how you all probably have a bigger number, and I know that we have Montgomery County folks as well. Anyone else want to chime in on that? How are the technicians and drivers responding to that?
Sure, this is Francine. So with Fairfax, with our 8 that we have in operation, we've had them in operation since May of last year. And so we have very enthusiastic drivers that support the technology, that have learned the technology, that, you know, have experienced with it to the point where we have actually similar to a lead driver. You've probably heard him. He's been interviewed, Nick Roca, who you know, communicates well with our Sonny Merriman contacts, our Proterra contacts, and he has really taken the lead to teach and show a lot of the other drivers some of the intricacies of the electric bus. They learned it, they love it, and they understand it. Our technicians are very much on board. They receive training from our Thomas staff early on when we first had the buses delivered, and received additional training. They actually, our Thomas Built Bus staff actually invited our technicians down to their local location for, you know, closer overview. And it's really, we've formed a very strong relationship with both the utilities, with Proterra and our vendor, and that is key in, you know, keeping the lines of communication open and understanding, just asking any question and just understanding the technology. So it's been very well received by our staff.
Awesome. We have 6 minutes left. I want to give you a chance, Francine, to give us your one thing that you think you need to help with the most.
Well, fortunately, through our Joint Environmental Task Force, we were funded a position to lead this work in Fairfax. And I think that is critical to have a specific individual that is you know, going to be dedicated to this work. It's going to take a lot of research. You know, with the grant opportunities that are coming up, it's going to take a lot of time to understand, you know, the technology, to understand what opportunities are out there. And so I think that is a very, you know, necessary move, is to have a position so that, you know, you have a team that's focused on this work that will get us there and help with, you know, making the connections and building those relationships with, you know, those partners, so that you can plan ahead. I think that's critical, and we're very fortunate to have been afforded that.
Thank you. We'll go to Frederick County. What's that one thing that you think you need to help with the most? Continue to move forward.
I think what we need to have, you know, moving forward is, and I know this is easy to say, but very difficult to get, is reassurance as we move forward. You know, we are not just talking about school buses being, you know, electrified. We're looking at automobiles, right? A number of different vehicles, and the things that, you know, that we have to take care of in transporting students is that power going to be there? If the grid goes down, what happens? Are you going to pull the energy out of the buses to put it back into some form of usage for the public? How does that affect us having school the next day? I mean, you know, we've been around for a number of years, all of us, and we've gone through ups and downs with energy concerns, right? About a year ago, right, the ransomware situation with diesel, and what was that on the news a week or two ago? So some vandalism shooting up a power area and a community not having power. So those are the kind of things that are concerning moving forward. I think we're all in agreement that this is the future. This is what's going to happen, and we're embracing it. But there is a concern about when everybody gets on the grid, 7,000 school buses in the state of Maryland down the road, and you know, and all the vehicles, is the grid going to be able to support all that? You know, so those are the questions that we don't have answered. Yes, we can put up an infrastructure, we can get our charging stations put in, we can buy the bus, plug the bus in, as many of us have some buses. But what's the reassurance moving forward, you know, to support the needs of our students?
It's not going to be a white elephant.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, gotcha. All right, we're going to go to Prince George's for the last word, and I do want to mention before I go to Mark from Prince George's County, the city of Greenbelt has one bus. I was wondering if they could piggyback on a bigger contract such as Prince George's County to retrofit our bus or purchase a new EV one. So Mark, why don't you go, and then we will have a number of these sessions on some good topics, and you've given us a lot of different ideas, and we'll take it back to some of our stakeholders and partners on this effort. Mark, you get the last word. Did we lose Mark?
No, Mark's here. Last word. Wow, that is an area I didn't really think about that much, but partnerships, local governments, school systems, cities, we're all moving in the same direction as far as electrification. So I do see partnerships in the future, especially when you're talking about moving into massive changes as far as infrastructure that can possibly be shared. What's the best way to spend these dollars, and how do we get the best bang for our buck? So there's definitely discussions beyond the individual municipality, and there needs to be more discussions like this.
Thank you. Well, I want to thank everyone for being here. This has been extremely helpful. It's been extremely insightful. Many of our partners at the federal level, from the White House to the EPA, Department of Energy, USDOT, they're all trying to like to know what people are thinking, what are some of the challenges, what are some of the opportunities, and you all provide us with some great information. You gave us some homework to do as well. We will work over the next few weeks. Our team is on from GWR-CCC and also from our partners from Virginia Clean Cities. So we will come up with some additional sessions on things that provide some technical assistance and support to help respond to some of the things that came out today. So thank you all. This was recorded, and we'll make sure that it's up on our website and YouTube sometime within the next week. You all have a great holiday. Stay safe, and thanks for sharing with us today. Bye-bye.